Talk Shoe.
Recorded live.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Indy Power Rankings Tag Team Top 5 reveal for the week of July 17th. Just a programming note ahead of time. Amazing Maria was in an accident. Let me read this off to you guys. It was actually pretty bad. Originally, we were supposed to have Amazing Maria and Samantha Heights on the show, but it has been dwindled down, unfortunately. And, you know, nothing against her because we love Samantha, but dwindled down because, Amazing Maria had gotten into an accident yesterday, broke her nose, 25 stitches across her face. She had to see a specialist at 2:30 today. She's due to defend her Strong Style title, her women's title over there Saturday. That's 3 days from now. So I'm hoping she can recover for her sake and for the sake of the promotion. You know, we have a great relationship with Strong Style, so hoping that works out for them. If not, then either way, please get well soon to Amazing Maria. That being said, Samantha will be calling in a few minutes, so let me get straight into the Tag Team Top 5. Sitting at number 5, we've seen this team before, Damnation, Mad Polly, and Tetsuya Endo. They're sitting at number 5. They had a great week. Pretty typical for them, to be honest with you. They're always getting out there. They're always active. Well, when I say they're always getting out there, that just means they're active, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily at a lot of promotions. They're known mainly for DDT, and they went 2-0 there over the weekend as they beat, I'll butcher the names, but let's try it. Kaizusada Higuchi and Koiki Iwasaki at DDT on 7/15, and then they teamed with Daisuke Sasaki on 7/16 to defeat Hiroshima, Dick Togo, and Mike Bailey. So that was their 2-0 record for the week. Then at number 4, we've got the Rejects, formerly known as the Tryout Show Rejects. It's John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley, the IWA Mid-South Tag Team Champions. They successfully defended those titles against a very highly ranked team in last year's Tag Team Top 50, and that is Roscoe Eat Lisa. Good to see them back in my area again. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, so it's nice to see Roscoe Eat Lisa around once again. Number 3, Scarlet and Graves, Desmond Xavier, and Zachary Wentz. Despite the fact that they only had one victory, it was probably the biggest victory of the weekend, probably the biggest single victory of the weekend. They defeated A.R. Fox and Jeff Cobb, who was subbing for Ray Phoenix on July 15th, to win those titles, the AAW Tag Team titles. So, got to give it up for them. Scarlet and Graves just killing it everywhere they go. Desmond Xavier, and nothing against Zachary Wentz, but Desmond Xavier is poised to be a superstar. Number 2, boy, I get to the fun with pronunciations today. Heneko Nakamori and Maki Natsumi. They actually went 3-0 to win the Pure J Dream Tag Team tournament, over the weekend in Japan. You can look up the results of that on the Tag Team Top 5 poll, rather than me rattling off every single team they beat. But I will do it for the number 1 this week because they are also People's Champs. They did exactly what Anthony Henry and James Drake, the U.S. version, did last week. They swept the official ballots of the voters at number 1, and then they won the fan vote. So not only are they number 1, they're People's Champs also. It's the Geordie Bulldogs, Sean and Mark Denny. Seen a lot of them in the Indy Power Rankings Tag Team Top 5 this year and last year. You saw them in the Tag Team Top 50 in the mid-year update, which will be released in writing here soon. You can always listen to the podcast at any time on this very network, Filling the Void. But anyway, okay, so here they go. The AML and Rage Tag Team Champions defeated Outlaw Inc. at Classic Pro Wrestling on July 15th in the first round of the Crockett Foundation Cup Tag Team Tournament. And then they beat the Heat Seekers in the next round, in the third round, or in the quarterfinals if you prefer. Well, I guess it was the finals. No, it was the quarters. It was semis, rather. How about I screwed that up about 12 times? They defeated the Old School Empire in the semifinals. And then in the finals, they defeated Tough Guy Inc., Brutal Bob Evans, and Tough Tim Hughes to go 4-0 for the tournament and to easily get a number 1 ranking and the People's Champs Award this week. You can follow them or like them on Facebook, facebook.com/Geordie Bulldogs. You can always email them for booking info, mark9316 at yahoo.com. The Geordie Bulldogs pulled off this week. They pull off the clean sweep of all of the votes. So more power to them. I'm telling you, the Georgia Bulldogs, when we talked to them, you could tell how hungry they were, no pun intended, and they've just continued that trend since then. Let me hit up Samantha Heights real quick just to let her know we're on. I'm sure she'll be calling shortly regardless. So, a little news today coming out of the wrestling. Shane McMahon was in a helicopter crash today. I don't usually talk anything outside of independent wrestling, but Shane McMahon was in a helicopter crash a couple hours ago around Long Island, and the man managed to survive and have no injuries. So, Shane McMahon doing what Shane McMahon does, being a superhero, and it's glad to hear he's okay. He didn't end up with all those injuries like poor Amazing Maria. I feel so bad for her. Even though she's the most hated woman in wrestling, self-proclaimed, pretty nice person outside of wrestling. So let me just throw this out for her, too. She is also the People's Champ this week in the Indy Power Rankings. Maria was. You can buy her T-shirts, maybe help her out with some medical bills. ProWrestling.com/AmazingMaria. And then hopefully she'll be up for competing against Rudy Jordan this weekend at Strong Style. And here shortly, Samantha's coming on. I'm just waiting for her to get logged in. I can tell she's here, but she'll be here in just a second. There she is. What's up, Samantha? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Well, we're both doing better than Amazing Maria, apparently. Geez, what happened? Did you get to talk to her at all?
Well, I got a little bit of information from her a little bit ago. She said that her face got into a fight with some pavement, and so she's out of commission right now. She didn't give me too much information.
Okay.
She sent me a picture. She sent me a picture, and it almost looked like she busted her face on something.
Yeah, I was gonna say she said she had to see a specialist today.
Yep.
In about 30 minutes. But and this is the last question I'll ask you about her because I want to talk about Samantha Heights too. Do you know if she's going to be able to work Strong Style this weekend? I mean, she promoted it earlier, but I'm thinking, if her face looks like that, I don't know how that's going to go for her.
I know she's a tough lady. She really is. So I think she'll do everything that she can to make that show. But judging by the picture she sent me, I really don't know. And I also think it might depend on what the specialist says. I mean, I know a couple of people who have had broken noses, who have just had to wear the plastic face masks while they wrestle to prevent any further injury. So, she might have that as an option. But I hope she makes it, but I really don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's get into, I have a little joke, the original 5 Feet of Fury, and that's Samantha Heights. Samantha, this is the first time we've had you on, so I won't, go completely into your history or anything, because we know you pretty well, and I think a lot of wrestling fans know you pretty well. But I do want to, get into some basics. How long have you been doing this now? I know Dave Chris trained you, but, I'm not sure when your first match was.
Well, I started training with Dave about 6 years ago, a little over 6 years ago, and then I trained for about a year and a half before my first match, so it's been about 4.5 years that I've actually been having matches. But I still train with him on a weekly basis, so that'll never end, I don't think.
Do you help train other people, too?
I do. Every time we get a new class of people, he is very, very much a believer of, you really get a better understanding and a better grasp of it if you can walk somebody through something, show them how to do it, and kind of help teach them. So he has us teach some basics and, go through a few things, but nothing too in-depth. And, it really has helped me in my game become better, not only an understanding of the moves themselves, but how to execute them, the best way and best place to execute them in a match. So it's definitely helped.
So your first match, I would assume, it was just an easy assumption on my part, it was at Rockstar Pro, correct?
Actually, no. There was a little place in Middletown, Ohio, that I had my first match at. I only had about 4 matches there My third match was actually at Rockstar. I had 2 matches at this place, and then the old booker of Rockstar said, well, I didn't know you were already having matches. Do you want to have one here? And I said, I would love to. So then he booked me my third match ever against Jessica Havoc.
Well, that's a hell of a fine to get thrown into right at the start. So how intimidated were you going in? I mean, I know that, you know, is a sweetheart, but still, to get in there with somebody that experienced and that physically imposing.
Oh, yeah. No, she's incredibly intimidating in the ring. I mean, everything about her presence, her moveset. So I'm not going to lie. I was like, are you kidding? All right. All right. And I mean, since then, I love Jessica. She's a great person, you know, in and out of the ring. She really is. But that was the first time that I had ever met her, and I was extremely intimidated.
So when you get in there with somebody like that, you're the one that, you know, is the younger of the two, clearly. You just kind of, you know, when she asks you, what do you want to do out there, you pretty much say, just listen?
Basically.
That's what I figured. And, you know, it's kind of like the Bull Payne situation. People talk about it all the time. You get in there with somebody like Bull Payne. Don't give opinions. You know what I mean? Just get in there and let them do what they want.
Exactly. No, I have met a few, I don't want to say she's an old-timer by any means, but she's definitely a veteran. You know, but I've met a few old-timers and veterans who definitely still have that approach. But there are some that are, you know, that are very, very lenient and very cool with, well, how do you feel about this? What do you think about that? You know? And those times when someone asks your opinion, you know, you want to give it, but it, you know, it's not something you want to give up freely.
So when you're training with, you know, men, obviously, you know, with Dave being your trainer and anybody else who pitched in, it probably isn't that hard of a transition into actually wrestling men. But talk a little bit about that. Like, when was your first actual match in front of an audience with a man?
Let me think. Well, right off the get-go, I was in a few mixed tag matches, like intergender tag matches, where I had a lot of interaction with a few guys. I tagged with Alex Colon, which was one of my first few matches, and then I actually tagged against Dave, Jake, Chris, and Nevaeh for like some of my early matches too. So, you know, I got into that pretty quickly, but my first one-on-one match with a guy was a lethal lottery match. So everyone's name on the roster went into a fishbowl, and we had it was at Rockstar Pro, and we had a fan come up and draw 2 names out of the bowl. And, you know, when we first found out that was going to happen that night, I swear, every single person in the locker room, hey, Sam, how funny would it be if me and you got picked? How funny would it be if I had to wrestle you? And then the very first match of the night, my match was drawn to wrestle a guy named Matt Taylor. And that was my first interaction with, you know, wrestling one-on-one with a guy in the ring. And the way that it worked was they called his name, he hit the ring, they called my name, I hit the ring, we just had a match. And that was it. So that was to be my first real experience with a guy, you know, and have it completely out of nowhere, not knowing, you know, I wrestle him tonight. I know his moveset, doing this and that. It was also, you know, pretty intimidating, just kind of going in blindly, really, completely blind.
So I hate to get off on a tangent here, but I got to ask you about Matt Taylor, because I remember in 2013, whenever we first started the rankings, him and Aaron Williams were kind of at the same level. It looked like both of them were going to be like breakout stars. And Aaron Williams, he took off pretty well. I mean, he did have the injuries and probably hindered him a little bit. But as a whole, though, Aaron Williams really did take off like we expected. But Matt Taylor, what happened with him? Can you tell me that? I mean, without getting too far into it.
Well, you know, I'm not sure of the logistics and the specifics. I know he stopped wrestling at Rockstar after a while, and I know he really only wrestled a few places. I know he was wrestling at a War Wrestling in Lima. I'm not sure where else he was wrestling after that, but